Hi children, all of you good morning. As a part of 6th standard history, so far you have seen what is history, from which word actually the word history has been derived, and who is considered the father of history, and what is the division we find in history, what is history, what is prehistory, and even we have seen the division of time, that is what is AD and what is BC, and even the physical framework of India, how the influence of physical divisions we find on our history, that all we have seen in the previous classes. Even if you have not watched those videos, just see the same channel and go for 6th standard history first chapter, and you can get all those sources. Now in this class you are going to see what are the sources of history, the subject history, which actually describes about the past events, then how actually it describes, what are the sources it has, that we want to study today. So the sources of history are divided into three: archaeological sources, literary sources, oral sources. What are the three important? Archaeological sources, literary sources, and oral sources. These are the three important sources we have. Even we have studied what is archaeology. Archaeology, it is a scientific study about the remains, historical remains. Who are called archaeologists? The people who continuously go for excavations, and the people who do research on the excavated items. That all we have studied under in the previous classes. Now you have to study in what way those sources actually help us to understand our history. So in the archaeological sources, we have first important one: monuments and objects, inscriptions and edicts, and coins. These three come under archaeological sources. What are those? Monuments and objects, inscriptions and edicts, and coins. Understood? Then what are literary sources? Under literary sources, we see particularly manuscripts. Under literary sources, what we find? Manuscripts. Literary sources are nothing but what? Written records. In what way they help, on what actually they have been written, that we want to study. And what are oral sources? See, first we want to study about the oral sources. What are oral sources? Oral sources are nothing but the sources which are not written but recorded and narrated. Those come under oral sources that I have written here. See here. What are oral sources? Which are not written. These are not written, but these are recorded and narrated. Means explained in a good way. Those come under oral sources. See here, generally which will come under those oral sources is just give an example, some stories, songs, and interviews. See, if you have taken one interview from a great person, there is no description for that, that is not written, but if you have recorded that, through that recording also we can understand what actually happened about his views. So in the same way, we don't find these oral sources particularly for the history, but for sometimes we get these oral sources. For example, in 1947, how our important movements actually taken place. What are the important speeches given by the Mahatma Gandhi? What are the speeches given by Hitler, Germany, Mussolini, Italy? whatever the interviews given by those people to the press, all those sources actually help us to know about the past history. So what will come under oral sources? Stories will come, songs come, interviews come. These are not written, these are recorded, and these are narrated. That you have to understand. Next, coming to the literary sources, that already I have told you. What are literary sources? The literary sources are nothing but which are written. Oral sources are not written, but the literary sources are written. On what actually they have been written? They have written on palm leaves, even bark of birch tree, even dried goat and sheep skins, and even on paper. All these come under manuscripts, and these manuscripts actually help us to know about our past things, particularly history. And even under literary sources, some resources actually which are actually related to some religion. What are those? Even you can see the sources which actually related to religion, those are Vedas. Vedas were actually written by these Aryans, and those Vedas were of actually four. Those are Rig Veda, Atharvana Veda, Yajur Veda, and Sama Veda. You have to remember these four Vedas. What are the four Vedas? Rig Veda, Atharvana Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda. Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharvana Veda, and Sama Veda. These Vedas, which are related to a religion, so these Vedas also help us to know about history. Understand? Why? Because even based on this only, we have divided the Aryan civilization, pre-Vedic, Vedic, Vedic civilization, pre-Vedic civilization, early Vedic civilization, later Vedic civilization. Understood? Early Vedic civilization, later Vedic civilization. So these Vedas, particularly these Vedas also help us to know about our history. Next, even folk stories, which are actually written by historians, travelers, and great writers. Some folk stories also, which come under literary sources, help us to know about our history. And next, even very important source, that is Arthashastra, which was written by Kautilya. Arthashastra written by Kautilya also help us to know about particularly how the administration should be carried and what are the important principles a ruler should follow. All that was described by Kautilya in his Arthashastra. And two more, Meghaduta and Abhignana Shakuntalam, even which were written by Kalidasa, and these also help us to know about our history. And even Pahyan, Chinese traveler. Who is Pahyan? Chinese traveler. Chinese traveler who visited Chandragupta II's court, and his writings also help us to know about the social, religious, and economic conditions of Buddhas. Understood? So, in that way, you can know about history based on the literary sources also. Literary sources also help us to know about our history. Now, coming to the first important one, that is archaeological sources. Previously, I told what is archaeology. It is a scientific study about the historical things. Particularly, archaeologists, the people who belong to the Department of Archaeology, these people they go on conducting excavations. Excavations means diggings. Through those excavations, what are the things actually found out with the help of those tools? Historical remains, they try to explain the social, religious and political conditions of the past. Now let us see what are monuments and objects, inscriptions and edicts, and what are coins. So previously we have seen the second important, what are those? Literary and also oral sources. Now the first one, archaeological sources. Archaeological sources are nothing but these are divided into three: monuments and objects, inscriptions, coins. What are monuments? See, they are telling that about monuments. Monuments and objects. What are monuments? That is the remains of structures and buildings. Remains of structures and buildings. Those come under monuments. See, the great rulers like Ashoka, Kanishka, Harshavardhana, Chandragupta II, Samudragupta, Sri Krishna Devaraya. So all these people actually contributed for the art and architecture. They have constructed number of temples, and which we are finding now also. Particularly we are finding what? The structures, particularly and buildings we are finding. In some places you find arches, in some places you find large buildings. Take Taj Mahal. So it is a remains of history, it's a part of remains of history. So all those come under what? Monuments. Red Fort is a monument. Understood? So the historical remains of structures and buildings all come under monuments. And what do actually come under this? They have given here some examples. Those are palaces. One example for a palace. You can find so many palaces in Rajasthan, Jaipur, Jodhpur. You can find so many palaces which were constructed by Rajput rulers. So here Ibadat Khana, a prayer hall, it is a palace, it's a building constructed by Akbar, Ibadat Khana. And temple, one important temple was constructed. If you see Hampi, you can find Virupaksha temple. So such are the example for these monuments. Understood? So, and even what we understand from these monuments and objects means we can understand in what way art, architecture and town planning in historical times, how it was, how the art was, how the architecture was, how the town planning was. See, in 1922, a great civilization actually brought out in our country. What was that? Indus Valley civilization. Through that, first time we came to know there was a very good planning, town planning for the people who are living in Indus Valley civilization. They have constructed houses completely by leaving roads. Both sides only you can find buildings, and even the wastewater was sent through drains. Underground drainage system was also maintained by the Indus Valley civilization people. So you can understand in what way there was town planning, particularly if you observe the city of Harappa, and in what way they stored their grain in Harappa. In Mohenjo-daro, particularly in Mohenjo-daro, you can see the buildings, large buildings. So why I have told you that with the help of monuments and objects you can understand the particularly art, architecture and town planning with the help of these monuments. And even with the help of objects and artifacts, even not only monuments, even some objects and artifacts. Artifacts means what? What we have brought out through excavations. Those are artifacts. What will come under that? Tools, weapons, statues, coins, seals, paintings, jewelry, toys, terracotta, also terracotta figures, and progress of human civilization. These all help us the progress of human civilization. In what way the human civilization was progressing, we can easily understand. Understood? So in that way, the objects and artifacts also help us to know about history. What will come under the objects and artifacts? What are artifacts? Artifacts are nothing but what we have excavated, which have been excavated. Those are called artifacts. Those also help us to know about our history. So these all come under what? Monuments and objects. Now what are inscriptions? What are inscriptions? First you have to understand inscription. Inscription means what? Writings engraved on metal plates. Writings engraved on metal plates, rocks, pillars and even cave walls. All these come under inscriptions. See, nowadays we have newspapers. We have large flex even if we want to explain something, just by showing some photos and some writings on the flex, we can explain. Nowadays you are observing more and more posters about COVID-19. Through that, government is explaining in what way we have to protect ourselves. But in olden days, as there was no such arrangement, all those were actually inscribed. You can find those writings actually engraved on plates, on rocks and pillars and even on cave walls. If you visit the caves of Ajanta, caves of Ellora, you can see so many stories of Gautam Buddha. So through those paintings, through those writings, they try to explain how the civilization was during historical time. And so through this, what we can understand, their political and social life. Their political and social life. And what actually the study of inscriptions is called epigraphs. Particularly these inscriptions also called epigraphs. The science which deals about old inscriptions is called epigraphy. Try to understand. Inscriptions also called what? Epigraphs. And the study of epigraphs is called epigraphy, or epigraphy is the science which study about old inscriptions. Understood? So this is what about inscriptions. And such large inscriptions are called edicts. Edicts are nothing but official orders issued by the rulers. What are edicts? Edicts are the official orders issued by the rulers. You can see such edicts more during Ashoka's time. Ashoka wanted to explain the rules in his administration, how the people should be. So for every 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, you can find such edicts, and in such edicts you can find rules and regulations, how we should protect our environment, how should we protect our plantation, how should we maintain our greenery. Like that, everything was written. How should we, why should we respect elders? Everything was explained through edicts. So edicts are nothing but official orders issued by the rulers, and these are actually inscribed on rocks and pillars. Where do you find these edicts? Those are inscribed on rocks and pillars. So in this way, these also help us to know about our history. And finally, coins. See, nowadays, by observing coins, don't you find some great personalities of our country? Particularly if you see our currency notes, you find our father of nation. Who is our father of nation? Mahatma Gandhi. And also on coins, you find our national leaders. You find Jawaharlal Nehru, first Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, Iron Woman of India. Like that, some historical, even the people who contributed for our freedom, Dadabhai Nauroji, Rabindranath Tagore, all these people, portraits you can find, photos you can find on the coins. Not only our Indians, even you can find some great Britishers also on our coins before before our independence. So these coins actually explain about even incidents also, great incidents happen. See, some coins were issued by the Indian government whenever whenever we have attained 1947 to 2000 2000 actually. So whenever some historical actually things happen, even in order to explain those, we issue coins. On such coins we can easily understand some important historical things. Understood? So in that way the coins actually become the valuable source, and through coins you can understand trade, art, religion, and even political and economic conditions of that period. And the study of coins is called numismatics. Numismatics. Okay. And names and portraits, generally you find some names of great rulers, portraits, that is photos of greater rulers, and even through these kinds we can explain some important events. Just now I told you that the 1947 to whenever we have attained 50 years over after achieving independence, when we have completed 50 years, when we have completed 75 years. So like that, in order to explain that, we have used our coins. So in this way, coins also help us to know about our history. So children, I hope you understood what are the important sources of history. Particularly the important sources of history are archaeological sources, literary sources, and oral sources. And what is the important difference I have explained you. Just to see all the questions slowly, and even if you get doubt, open the first chapter of your 6th standard history, and with that also you can easily understand. Thank you.